Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's kick off today's story with a look at what happens when a laid-back landlady learns the hard way that rules go both ways. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. When Karen's laziness backfires, how I made my apartment safer. My friend and I recently moved into a brand new apartment building quite recently, and we're incredibly excited. Good area, nice apartment units, reasonable price, etc. The landlady, let's call her Karen, seemed pretty laid back as well. The only drawback was that my friend and I had a tandem parking space, which proved to be a pain in the butt because we have extremely different commute schedules. But hey, small price to pay, right? Fast forward to now. I've had to put a few service requests in the past few months about things that weren't quite right. Things like faucets not working and other routine maintenance items. Karen would always respond to our concerns, but many times that's as far as it went. Basically, if it wasn't important to her, which none of our concerns seemed to be, it went unresolved. Okay, fine. We can all be laid back about things if that's your style, but it wasn't. My friend recently discovered that one of the parking spaces in our garage went completely unused. He monitored it for weeks and eventually began to park there, which was fantastic for us. This went on for months without issue. Eventually, though, Karen caught on and directed our maintenance guy to put up a cone blocking the space. A few days later, the cone was gone, but we still decided it'd be best not to park there. A couple days later, I had to get my car out from behind my friend's car, so I temporarily had to park my car in the still unused forbidden space while I ran his keys back upstairs. He only has one set of keys and he was asleep, so I moved his car for him. I figured, whatever, I'll literally be there for 5 minutes, so this won't be an issue. Wrong. Our parking lot is one floor beneath the lobby. As I'm taking the elevator to my floor, it stops at the lobby, at which point the maintenance guy, under the direction of Karen, tells us we cannot park there because the space is reserved for some imaginary car. I have no idea how the F this dude noticed so quickly. He must have been just staring at the security cameras all day. This happened about a week or two ago. Since then, neither my roommate nor I have seen anyone park there. We also have a few guest parking spaces in our garage. The gate leading into the garage also has a call box so we can remotely open the garage gate for guests. Karen never set up the call box and says she has no intention of setting it up because she doesn't want guests parking in tenant spaces. I explained to her that guests could just as easily park in tenant spaces if the tenant used their own garage door opener to let them in, but she didn't seem to follow this logic. So now we have this call box that looks completely functional, but is not. Cool. At this point, I've just resolved that Karen's lazy and really doesn't give a crap about the needs or concerns of residents. Instead, she cares about having maintenance water down our parking garage every week. We live in California, and this is a big no-no. Yes, we did break their rules about the parking, however arbitrary, but what bothers me is how little they care about, like, real rules such as municipal codes, fire code, and state law. Our elevator went without proper inspection for months against city and state law, during which time it actually broke down. They removed 2 ADA handicap parking spaces from our parking garage after it was inspected by the city. They always park their own cars in the one remaining handicap parking space. They illegally propped open fire doors and have barricaded an emergency exit for maintenance for well over a month. There's no actual ETA on when the maintenance will be completed. But since Karen seemed to be so fond of her rules and her way of doing things, I thought I'd give her the opportunity to learn the rules of government agencies. Those 2 handicap parking spaces I was talking about, the Department of Building and Safety would like to talk to you about that. Those 10 fire doors that you have illegally propped open and the emergency exit you have barricaded off, the fire department would like to conduct a building inspection. That cracked wall on the west side of the building, I sure hope you filed a permit with the city to conduct maintenance work because they'll be visiting you very soon. They're now facing multiple inspections from different agencies as well as fines. I'm happy. Plus, now I'm living in a safer building. Update. The beginnings of sweet justice are rolling in. The fire department came by today and issued a warning to the building management. All fire doors have been shut. They told me that if this happens again, to let them, the fire department, know, and they'll issue a citation. I have no idea about the laws where you live, but it's very likely that there are legal requirements for your landlord to make needed repairs in a timely manner. The details will depend on the exact laws where you live, but you might want to consider it. The downside, of course, is that this won't be anonymous. And our second story. The train conductor's quiet revenge. We were on the last train back home from Historic City after a Saturday evening on the SAS. It's a comfortable train, never too many passengers, and the buffet car was still open so we could start to sober up with a coffee. So we settled down in the quiet carriage, no mobiles, no audio, no shouting, for a relaxing ride home. Unfortunately, 3 stops out of Historic City is Chavtown. If there's any trouble on the train, it's always caused by people from Chavtown. And true to form, a party of chavs from Chavtown barreled into our carriage just a minute before the train was ready to leave. Edit from Historic City. Fine. We'd only have to put up with them for 3 stops, shouting, screaming, swearing, and generally being obnoxious, though the amount of screaming was getting a bit wearing even just 1 minute after we set off. Conductor, a polite, well-turned-out young guy, comes through the train to do the customary ticket check. We showed ours. He moved on to the chavs. "Can I see your tickets, please, ladies and gentlemen?" F off. Would he stand his ground? Call the British Transport Police? Dump them off at the first station? To our surprise, no. He just walked on to the next carriage. 20 minutes later, and the train draws up to Chavtown. Unusually, the conductor hadn't made an announcement over the tannoy to say, "Our next stop will be Chavtown." And once the departing passengers had made their way off, the doors were locked double sharp. I think I even saw the conductor running up the platform to make sure the doors were closed promptly and the train set off again half a minute early. At which point, the chavs suddenly realized where they were, ran out to the vestibules, and started beating on the doors. "Sorry guys, the train's going. You'll have to get off at remote rural village, the next stop." "No, this is the last train of the night. There aren't any more back to Chavtown." Tell the train conductor to F off? That'll be a 40-pound taxi ride back home from remote rural village to Chavtown. Guess it would have been cheaper for you to buy a ticket in the first place. This is gold, and what this sub's all about. Gold, I tell you. Good on that conductor. I hate arrogant jerks like that who are nasty to people just doing their jobs and for no good reason. And our last story. The day a Karen tried to out-blind me. I went grocery shopping yesterday, something that's always a bit more complex for me as a blind person. I rely on staff assistance and have my guide dog, Spike, by my side. For those unfamiliar, guide dogs are not pets, they're working animals that help their handlers navigate safely. Unfortunately, the sight of a dog often attracts unwanted attention, as it did yesterday. The people involved. Me, blind person navigating life with my guide dog, Spike. Entitled mother, EM, Karen Incarnate, accompanied by her daughter. Security Guard 1, SG1, ineffective and clueless. Security Guard 2, SG2, the real MVP who saved the day. As I waited in the food court for my meal, I overheard a child's excited voice talking to her mother about Spike. The girl seemed genuinely curious about guide dogs, but her mom, whom we'll call EM, was clearly gearing up for trouble. Moments later, EM stormed over. EM, why did you tell my daughter you're blind? Me, because I am blind. She asked about my dog, and I explained his role. EM, you're not blind. My cousin's blind, so I know what a real blind person looks like. I sighed. Her tone was accusatory, and I could already feel this conversation spiraling. Me, not all blind people are the same. Just because your cousin has specific symptoms doesn't mean every blind person does. This explanation did not appease her. EM, don't lie. Your eyes look fine, and you're using a phone. Why would you fake being blind? And why won't you let my daughter pet your dog? Me, because he's a working dog. I'm not faking anything, and I'd appreciate it if you'd leave me alone. Her voice rose with every sentence. She started yelling about her daughter's right to pet Spike and accusing me of being a fraud. EM, I'll call security and have you and your fake guide dog thrown out of here. A few minutes later, she returned with SG1. SG1, ma'am, this woman says your dog isn't a service animal. Is that true? Me, No, he's a guide dog. I can show you the relevant laws if needed. SG1. That won't be necessary, but she says you aren't disabled. I explained my blindness and even offered to demonstrate how Spike helps me navigate. EM wasn't having it. EM. She's lying. Look at her. She's on her phone. Blind people don't use phones. I patiently explained screen reader technology and how blindness isn't a one-size-fits-all condition, but SG1 seemed unsure. SG1. I don't know who to believe. She said her cousin's blind, so at this point, I was done. Me. Look, if you're not going to ask her to leave me alone, I'll just leave. Thanks for nothing. I stood up, commanded Spike to guide me, and started walking away. That's when EM grabbed my guide dog's harness, effectively blocking my ability to move. EM. Wait, my daughter wants to pet him. You can leave after that. Me. Let go of my harness. You're putting me in danger. Her grip tightened, and I panicked. I started yelling for help, drawing the attention of SG2, who rushed over. SG2. What's going on here? Me. She won't let go of my guide dog. I can't move. EM. She's lying. That's not a real guide dog, and she's not blind. SG2. Miss, let go of her dog now, or I'll remove you myself. EM. You can't do that. She's a liar, and I'm protecting my daughter's rights. Ignoring her nonsense, SG2 forcibly removed her hand from Spike's harness. I immediately commanded Spike to lead me out, leaving the chaos behind me. As I exited, I could hear EM screaming at SG2, who repeatedly told her to calm down. I reported the incident to the store's management and am considering filing a formal complaint against EM for harassment. What's most troubling is how common experiences like this are for blind people. If you ever witness someone being harassed over their disability, please intervene. SG2's actions were the only thing that kept the situation from escalating further. People like EM need to learn that their ignorance doesn't give them the right to endanger others. You're absolutely right. Situations like this are far too common. People don't understand the boundaries and responsibilities that come with guide dogs, and the lack of awareness is frustrating. Filing a formal complaint is a smart move. It might help prevent something like this from happening to someone else. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.